Rogan universe really involves interviewing billionaires and rich people, and for Rogan, occasionally literally CIA agents and government officials like Republicans. It's almost like they're not really talking about the true conspiracies in our society, which is like folks like this who can get on the call with the president and have the US government bend to a rich guy's wishes. It's almost like they're selling that propaganda to their audience.
This video, we turn to Sam Seder and his show, The Majority Report. Sam Seder reacts to a clip from the Flagrant podcast where Andrew Schulz interviews a guest about Trump's tariffs. With that, let's watch Sam Seder lose his mind over Andrew Schulz discussing the benefits of Donald Trump's tariffs.
What is amazing about this as you watch it is the lack of self-awareness here and the sense of proprietary and entitlement. And also as to why things may be sort of effed up in this country.
Yeah.
This is what you get when you have the kind of wealth disparity we have in this country, where you go from a plutonomy to a plutocracy or oligarchy.
This is one thing I'll tell you about the Trump administration, which is totally different. Okay, I was a lifelong Democrat. Okay, I was a mega donor to the Democrats. You know, like dinner with Obama level donor. Okay, I couldn't get a fucking phone call returned from the White House to save my life. The only thing that happened to me was I made an off-color comment about like something in China, and I had the Biden administration like basically say something, like essentially put out a press release basically saying I was like, you know, mean. That's all I got for millions of dollars. That, you know what I mean? Like,
for being honest.
I mean, I was like, hey man, there's like a lot of problems in America. Like, you know, talk to me about the fentanyl crisis before we talk about everything else. Anyways, the Trump administration is totally different. There's not a single person there you can't get on the phone and talk to. I'll give you an example of this. A friend of mine's company was really impacted with these tariffs in a bad way, okay? This is like a really amazing, legitimate American business, 150-year-old business, family owned, all this stuff. And I was able to call the deputy chief of staff and I said, hey, can you talk to the CEO and just so hear on the ground? He's like instantly putting me on the phone. You know, my wife runs a pharmaceutical business and, you know, we wanted to make sure that the administration understood like all the implications for rare diseases and orphan drugs. What happens if these tariffs like cripple the R&D budgets? Because there's 30 million Americans with rare diseases. Rare diseases means it's not like diabetes or cancer. Yeah. It's like 200,000 people or less. But there's 30 million of these Americans. 2/3 are kids. And the only companies that work on such small markets.
I apologize. I can't remember this guy's name, but I have a ton of respect for him. I mean, you kind of heard his backstory right there. Ex-Democrat. He had dinner with Trump, and I remember slowly after that, he started realizing he was on the wrong side, and now he supports Trump. So I haven't watched this, but as I'm watching it, it's like kind of a cool story, right? I couldn't get a hold of anybody in the Biden administration. I could with Trump, but he's also talking about negative impacts of the tariffs too, just based on people he's interacted with. And I love how the administration isn't like, I don't want to talk to someone who's going to complain about the tariffs. So he's able to connect with someone in the administration and dive deeper into why it's affecting this person's business and what the administration sees in the long run as the benefits to the tariff strategy. So to me, I'm just hearing access. A big donor has access to the president. This is a guy who's clearly pretty objective. I mean, a lifelong Democrat, and then now you're supporting Donald Trump. Mega donor. I mean, that's crazy. So here's what's going to be fun with this. How will Sam Seder and Emma Vigeland, two crazy, insane, far left-wing people, criticize this? I think maybe they're going to say, like, if you're rich, you get access to the president or something like that. But that's kind of been the case. But if you donate a ton to someone's campaign, whether that's right or not, but I think since the beginning of time, if you donate a lot to someone's campaign and the party as a whole, they're going to give you access to acknowledge that you've helped get them elected. So I think Sam Seder and Emma Vigeland are going to complain that, oh, if you're rich, you can have access to the president. But that's how it's been forever. So anyway, I'm talking and thinking at the same time as how they're going to spin this as bad. But I guess they're just going to say, anyway, let's just see how they complain about what is seemingly just a guy talking about his experience with Trump and that it's positive. Let's see how they find a way to make it negative.
Are these small biotech companies. And the tariffs create a lot of uncertainty. We were able to talk to all of them. They were like, explain the issue. I want to understand it. So this is what's also totally different, which I really give them a lot of respect. They are willing to debate it with you. You can pick up the phone and talk to these people.
You can.
I've never had that experience, guys. I mean, look, I was like
All right, pause it for 1 second. Pause it for 1 second. First off, the reason why you never had to pick up the phone and call the Biden administration to help kids with rare diseases is because the Biden administration didn't do this. The time maybe to have these conversations is before you do it and create a potential economy creating a decision. But that's just sort of secondary.
Yeah.
First off, who are those guys that are sitting on the couches who are not going, hey, wait a second. We accidentally discovered huge amount of corruption in our political system that you get access to the president when you want on demand if you give enough money.
That is Andrew Schulz's podcast, if I'm not mistaken, one of the guys that came out of the Rogan universe. And don't you think it's just fascinating that the extended Joe Rogan universe really involves interviewing billionaires and rich people, and for Rogan, occasionally literally CIA agents and government officials like Republicans? It's almost like they're not really talking about the true conspiracies in our society, which is like folks like this who can get on the call with the president and have the U.S. government bend to a rich guy's wishes. It's almost like they're selling that propaganda to their audience.
He is basically touting this administration because they're for sale. And it's an easy thing to do if you are a billionaire, that apparently you can buy influence and access. And there he is. And here we go.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
That experience, guys. I mean, look, I was like a senior person at Facebook, could never get a meeting. I only met Obama once when he came to the thing. Then when I was running an investment fund, successful, I had dinner with Obama, but it was, under the purpose of, should I donate to the foundation? I donated millions of dollars to Democrats. I've never been to the Oval. Okay? But the minute that it's like here, it's like, hey, come to the White House, explain these issues now. You get on a plane, you get over there, and they're like, explain it. And then they'll debate it. It's like, it's totally different.
Sorry, devil's advocate. Should being a mega donor, I mean, I guess I get your point of view, but couldn't it also just be like, no, we're not going to be biased just because a person donated money. We're not going to just answer the phone whenever he calls.
You think I was
hold on, pause it. There we go.
Hero.
Credit to that guy, devil's advocate. You know what? You're not being the devil's advocate. You're actually.
This is so hard to watch. These people, Sam Seder and Emma Vigeland, just insufferable, man. God, they're skipping over so many obvious things that Obama's willing to sit down with this guy when they want money. Then I bet they're really listening to him. But because Trump's administration is responsive and will answer the phone to a mega donor, that's the crux of this entire clip. That's why this guy's bad, and that's why the Trump administration's bad. These two are saying with a straight face, the Democrats aren't influenced by money. She said something like, our party doesn't do that, or one of them did. They are reaching so badly. If they reach any more, their arms are going to pop out of the socket. Insider trading with the tariffs. All these idiots do is complain. They're unhappy people. I think wealth disparity is a problem in the country. But Sam Seder, we've seen it before, he wants to tax people to 90% tax rate after they make a certain amount of money, which is just a laughable solution to wealth inequality. And think about what they're saying. They're like, it was good that Biden didn't take calls from mega donors. Dude, Biden didn't take calls from anyone. He didn't even know where he was. What are you talking about? At least Donald Trump's team will talk to people even when the people are upset with them and explain their rationale behind what they're doing, and they'll listen. It's not like this guy is asking them to manipulate markets or do something unsavory. There's so much more I want to say, but let's wrap up the video.
Being the advocate
For the angels.
hundreds of millions of Americans who don't have $1 billion so that they can basically spend as much as like someone would on a used car relative to their, or maybe even less, frankly, at this point, and then buy access and then complain and cry about it.
Right. All right. I take back my my critiques of the
say-
podcast if this guy's a part of it.
All
so.
these guys, Palpatine is the guy who's saying like we shouldn't bail out the airline industry, but when Silicon Valley Bank needed a bailout, they
Oh,
were
he was
running
was he the guy screaming?
I think Calicanis or Sachs was the guy that was really
Sachs
sort
was
of,
really screaming
Yeah.
about it.
Because a person donated money, we're not going to just answer the phone whenever he calls.
You think I was like, stupid 5 years ago, and all of a sudden tried to like start to build national champions like now?
Yeah.
Dude, man, I've been in the grind for fucking 25 years here, paying my taxes. I fucking paid, more than most people.
Yeah. So irrespective of the donation,
I've been trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to favor myself. It's like even just to explain, like,
So these two are either lying or they're really, really not as smart as I'm giving them credit for. When you talk about the leadership of the Democrat Party, the mainstream liberal media, not the voters, but that group of people, they're the most power-hungry, money-hungry party on the planet. The fact that these two are sitting here with a straight face and saying, at least money doesn't influence our presidents is just bonkers. I mean, that money and power is all that motivates Democrats. That's why I say these two have to be lying or incredibly stupid. I mean, this is such a nothing video that they're trying to make into something bigger. They're trying to read super deep into it. It's really, there's no conspiracy here, guys. You can give it up. But what do you guys think? Are they lying, or are they this stupid that they believe that responsiveness from administration to a mega donor is a bad thing? It's not like they changed laws for him. It's not like they, at least from what I'm seeing here, it's not like they made him wealthier somehow. He's even talking about how the tariffs negatively affected a friend of his and his legitimate business. And I promise this friend of his isn't a mom and pop shop. I'm sure it's another billionaire, very wealthy person too. So the whole thing about the Trump administration being bought, who in the world now doesn't know that Democrats are the party of billionaires? Come on, man. There's a reason for that, because they can be bought. They're scumbag liars that will do whatever they can to get money and power. Sorry. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. But if I'm wrong, please tell me why. I'm always willing to learn, but I see them trying to make something out of a nothing burger, because the truth is, American people support Donald Trump and everything he's doing right now. And they have very little to criticize. So they have to make stuff up. Like I said, let us know what you think in the comments. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.